Hi guys, I'm Mike. This is Dev from Show and Tell Tech.
And we're back with part 2 of our E3 videos.
Right.
Part 1 was we went over a bunch of shooters, co-op shooters and whatnot. I think this time we've kind of leaned more into the RPGs and other simulation type games. So I think we're going to throw in some Forza, some Riders Republic. We're going to talk a little bit about the Metroid, Zelda. We've got Elden Ring.
Yeah.
We're going to touch on Starfield because
Got to touch on Starfield.
Got to. And I think we threw in some Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So should be pretty fun. A lot of good games here. A lot of these games people have been waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how about we just jump right into the first game?
Absolutely. What we got up first?
First up, we're gonna have a Forza Horizon 5. So that over. We'll get some gameplay going on in the background here. Yeah. I haven't played all the Forza games. I played one of the Horizon games. I don't remember which one it was, but it was a lot of fun. And, I think this is just taking any of, the past games and just throwing everything at it, it looks like.
Yeah. So, I'm not much of a Forza player myself. What little Forza I have played has been in Horizon, kind of like you. And Horizon has that very much open world kind of, car build / almost a certain aspect of RPG to it, where you get your cash and you go out and you get your upgrades and stuff, and you have your missions you go do. So, and this one is looking to have kind of, like you said, a lot of all of those Horizon games into one. So
right, and that's kind of the same reason why I liked this particular series. Like you said, it was the open world.
Right.
And, this time we're in Mexico.
Yeah.
And when I think this is what I think right here when I'm thinking that, like Baja, off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Just gunning through it, and this looks amazing.
Yeah, so like the graphics, it definitely looks like they're taking advantage of the ray tracing and the DLSS stuff. The graphics just pop off the screen. You look at those reflections on that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just the reflection of not just like the sky, but the branches and the jungle as it passes you. The reflections off the waterscape and the difference between the shadows as you drive through them into the sun and into the shadows. I mean, it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, and Forza, they've always been on like the cutting edge graphically.
Absolutely.
Like their games have no matter what they've been on have looked amazing. It's like what the very first one was on 360?
I think so, yeah.
And it was just ridiculous how good it looked.
It would heat a 360 up fast.
Oh yeah. If you wanted to, red ring of death pretty quick, all you had to do is play this. But I mean, look at this. I mean, this is probably gonna be like a big open world. You've got other players all over the place. You've got these really big epic races. I'm excited. I like I said, I haven't been in the racing games as much, but this one intrigues me.
Right, and that's exactly how it's been for some of the past Horizons too. Horizon is really one of the only racing games that I do play, and while I don't play it a lot, it is definitely one of the only ones I do put time into because it has that open world mechanic, and just while you're driving around, it looks amazing. So
yeah, it kind of gives me that feeling that I got used to get back in the test drive.
Right,
you could just get a car. You go off wherever you wanted and just have fun in it.
Right,
you can kind of do the same thing here. There's obviously lots more you can do in this game than just test drive.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, look at the landscaping and stuff. I think they used a lot of the same tech for their map on this as they did in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, the new one.
Right, yeah. So that's actually a good
image
point.
mapping and stuff they did.
Yeah.
They used, I think a lot of that same technology to do their Mexico map here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely shows, just the terrain and how it all comes together, the grass, all of that, the dirt as it flies up off the road as you drive.
Yeah. I mean, all this, it just looks natural.
Yeah.
And it looks absolutely stunning. So, it's definitely a game I'm very intrigued in. I know a lot of people, they've been ready for this next one.
Right.
Because the Forza, you've got the motorsport.
Yeah, we got the motorsport release too.
And then you've got the Horizon side. And, a lot of people like the Horizon one because they give you that freedom.
Right, absolutely.
You get that freedom of, you get to enjoy the cars, but you still get the freedom to enjoy that car. And I think a lot of people have been ready for this next installment, and it does definitely tick a lot of boxes for me. And I don't even have boxes, but it's ticking them.
Like you had boxes you didn't even know you had, and they're ticking them.
Exactly.
I mean, look at that. Even, the screen as it goes through, you drive through the water and it kicks water up on the screen. It just, the fidelity of it and the openness of it is amazing.
Yeah. So definitely interesting game that I'll probably definitely be wanting to check out for sure. Yeah, I think Microsoft's got a winning series on that one. They've definitely
for sure.
Title after title, push the hardware.
Right. I mean, you have a huge following for the motorsport side as well. And they're really into that Formula 1 racing, on a track sort of thing, but like the Horizon series, sorry. The Horizon
See that
series,
Horizon and drive.
Exactly. Because of the openness of it and the freedom to, choose what you want to drive, where you want to drive, the missions you want to do and all that. It's got a huge following because of, a lot of the aspects to the game. It brings a lot of people into the driving game like myself that don't necessarily like driving games because of that aspect.
Right, for sure. And, kind of speaking of games that, you may not think you want to get into, like, the driving game or whatever, Ubisoft's got another game coming out.
Right,
that's going to be the big open world-like thing. Riders Republic,
absolutely.
I don't think I'm going to full screen this one. I think that was kind of with the full screen playback might have been giving us a little bit of a choppy playback on our video feed here. So I'm just going to leave that in theater mode here.
Okay.
While it's playing in the background there. But yeah, this is supposed to be like just an outdoor sports MMO.
Right, exactly. So clearly they're going, they said they're going with a live service model on this, and a live service model on this makes a ton of sense.
Right.
So this isn't just a bike riding game. This isn't just a skateboarding game. It isn't just
snowboarding,
wing gliding, hang gliding, all that. It's like everything,
all of that
into one. Exactly. And it looks like they've done a real good job about building the community around that too, right? Because a lot of this stuff is based on like huge, massive community races. The community can go in. They've given a construction kit with it too, so the community can go in, build their own tracks, build their own game styles, their plays, and then put it out in the community themselves. And then that gives the community even more stuff to go and do. So you've got, like right here, you've got the snowboarding too. You've got biking, snowboarding, all this stuff. It's just basically like an extreme sports paradise.
Right, and it's like, mini games and stuff like that here. It's like, you're trying to pull the best trick off to get the ramps to change to your team color and stuff like that. And look at this, we've got downhill mountain biking.
Right.
Straight off of snowboarding. And I think they show just while you're doing this, you can see other people wing gliding by you and stuff like that. So it's it's all connected. You feel like you're on this massive sports mountain.
Right.
So it's actually really interesting. I remember playing Excite Bike 64,
right? Yeah,
and some of the motocross versus ATV games, kind of stuff like that, and it kind of gives me that kind of feel, but with more of a freedom, because those games, they were like set tracks and stuff like that. Even though half the time I would play it, I would just drive off and just have fun with it, kind of thing. So this kind of piqued my interest as well. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, you see, like you got people biking, people wing gliding,
and that previous footage too. When you look at it, it's like it has so much in one, right? Because that was definitely reminiscent of the older snowboarding games, as well as like the Tony Hawk feel of skating, and so it's just there's so much here, and it's like it almost, if you're in it for one thing, it almost makes you want to be like, all right, well, let me try this out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, paragliding. I mean,
it's all kinds of stuff, and it's not just to do like this right here. There's like achievements to go just explore, find these views.
If you just want to set out, explore the maps and the tracks and stuff, go through there and just sit there and take a picture with the in-game camera.
Yeah, I mean, it's got like you said, just a little bit of something for everybody. Events, trick battles, just explore and play, big, like you said, community races, these downhill challenges. I mean, it's just got a little bit of everything, and it just looks like a lot of fun. And like I said, it's almost like MMO-ish. You're going to be in like a big lobby with all these people, and when you're not in the game, you're like in that little like little park.
Right.
With the different like stalls, which I'm sure there's going to be like cosmetics to unlock and stuff like that. So definitely looks like a lot of fun. So definitely kind of piqued my interest.
I am kind of curious. One thing I'm definitely interested about is, so like, I'm not 100% sure. I think they mentioned something about there being an in-game camera for like if you're exploring and stuff. But what about like this right here, like the stuff that they've done? Which some of this is gameplay footage, some of this is theatrical stuff. But there's also a lot of shots that look like they could come from an in-game camera of actual in-game footage. Are they going to give that to us, or are we going to be able to actually put together like videos and stuff of our rides and like put together maybe like little skits and stuff with our friends?
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. Definitely be something to keep an eye out for. Oh, there you go. September 2nd this year, so coming out pretty soon.
Yep. Riders Republic. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks like there's a beta coming up soon. So, yeah, definitely make sure you check that out. And we'll see how that goes. That's an Ubisoft title.
Yeah, so, I was a little disappointed with Ubisoft's offerings this year, but
yeah,
they are bringing back the Dance Dance, or Dance Dance.
Just Dance.
Just Dance. Thank you very much. Which there's a huge camp that follows that. My kids love playing Just Dance. And they're doing stuff with Siege that I'm not necessarily happy about. Like, it feels like that could have been a DLC instead of a game all to its own.
Yeah, that's something maybe we'll touch on our next video. Yeah. I don't think too many people were too thrilled.
Yeah.
And there's going to be plenty of people that are too, though. So, I mean, if you are, yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not our cup of tea.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Nothing from Splinter Cell that disappointed me greatly.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I think they had a couple high notes, but they had a lot of low notes.
Yeah.
We didn't see nothing on Division from them.
Yeah.
At all. It almost makes you wonder, what's going on there.
Yeah, I figured for sure they would have had a DLC drop for it, but or nothing.
Something, anything. So, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Wrong button there. So, how about we go on to our next game? Just something we can talk about here. Starfield.
Right, yeah.
Finally
got released it.
Look at Starfield.
And it's another cinematic trailer, so it's not a super, in-depth of gameplay or anything like that.
And we didn't get a whole lot of details for it. Basically, what we know from Todd Hardware's interview is Skyrim in space.
Right, absolutely. And
which would intrigue anybody.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, in our last video, we were talking about shooters and stuff, and we were talking about how Obsidian had done like New Vegas 2, and then they'd moved on and they couldn't go back into the Fallout universe, so they made Outer Worlds. and Outer Worlds was like their competitor for Fallout. And while it was their competitor for Fallout, it was a completely new IP in and of its own, and it honestly feels more like a competitor for Starfield, right? It's that very spacey, you know, Skyrim-y / Fallout-y sort of feel, right?
Right. Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see, what kind of direction they're taking Starfield.
Right.
Are we going to get a lot of that? Is it going to be? I'm betting it's going to be a much more serious tone than Outer Worlds was.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
For sure.
Bethesda has always had a sense of humor, but it's more of a, not to say dark, but it's more of a serious sense of humor. Right.
And it's usually very subtle.
Yes, absolutely.
Usually very subtle. So, but, I mean, just even this small trailer they gave us, I'm definitely interested.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, and like anybody who knows anything about Elder Scrolls, they've probably played Skyrim in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And you say the words Skyrim and space together, I mean,
evokes a lot of emotions there.
it really does. It really does. So, I don't know.
So there we go. Starfield,
really
11/22. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I will probably be picking it up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of those ones a lot of people end up picking up. There something to kind of throw out there on that, because in that same interview, he said that there was a lot of hidden details in the trailer. People have been looking for every little thing. And a lot of people have been stuck on this one little thing. I didn't have an image pulled up for it.
I think I know where you're going.
But it was like this little weird little marking. And people started taking that marking and it's like, oh, well, that kind of looks familiar. So they put it up to a map of the Tamriel for Elder Scrolls.
Right.
And they think they've figured out the location
for
where Elder Scrolls
6 is going to be,
which was
Hammerfell.
Yeah, Hammerfell area. And I forget which one's adjacent to that.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so
we'll see. We'll see.
We didn't get anything for Elder Scrolls 6.
No, we didn't.
Out of E3, nothing.
Which, I mean, let's be honest. When they released the trailer at the last E3 for Elder Scrolls 6, Todd Howard himself said, we're just in pre-stages of development on this. This is not coming out anytime soon, but we wanted y'all to see that we are working on it. Right. So, I mean, they're probably still going to be working. I would be willing to bet they're still working on it for another good 2, maybe 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
But, that's not to say that it's necessarily wrong, because Bethesda is notorious for hiding things in plain sight, right?
They are.
Like, they're in some of their games, Skyrim, as well as Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind. I think there was a little bit of it in Oblivion as well. They've almost told their whole story before you finish the story in lore, right? So a lot of the books that you can read, it actually has a lot of clues to how the game ends and things that happen in the game. So, and in their trailers too, they're notorious for it in their trailers. They do hide details and things. So we'll see. Maybe they're right about that. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're just kind of hallucinating some.
But so far, as long as there's no extra delays, we're going to see Starfield in about a little over a year.
Yep.
Almost a year and a half from now.
Yep.
So
looking forward to it.
Definitely keep your eyes out for new trailers and new stuff, because I'm sure we'll see it next E3.
Yep.
With a lot more, hopefully, gameplay with it.
Hopefully, they better have some gameplay if it's coming out next year.
Yeah. So, another game that I don't think we're going to be waiting that long for, Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, okay, yeah.
A lot of people have been waiting for this. From the people who brought us Dark Souls.
Absolutely.
So, they said that they were working on another game, that it wasn't going to be a Dark Souls game. And, we knew Elden Ring was the name for a while. This is the first time right here we've seen something from it. Big names behind it. George R.R. Martin is helping with the story.
They've partnered with him to to make a completely different story, as well as a whole nother realm to go with it. So,
and I don't know. It looks amazing. My only problem that I had with it, which, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad problem, was it still looks like Dark Souls to me.
Yeah.
And, they said, they were going to make a completely different game. It wasn't going to be a Dark Souls game. It looks like Dark Souls to me.
Well, and I think a lot of the time, whenever you have a group of people that work on things that are similar, the aesthetic usually ends up being very close, right?
Right.
Because, and I mean, let's face it, like Dark Souls type games are known for being very dark, very gritty type of games. And so I think, like, you can kind of get away from that aesthetic to a point, which I think they've tried to do. But also, it's going to look like Dark Souls to a point as well. Right.
And that is by no means a bad thing at all.
No.
Because, I mean, the Dark Souls games were absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
They went so hardcore with it when other people were trying to, find ways to quality of life the game to death.
Right, absolutely.
And with Dark Souls, they were like, no, you get hit, you're done.
It's like you're gonna play this game, and if you really love this game, those are the people that's gonna stick with this game.
Right.
Because we are not giving you any help whatsoever.
But that also intrigues me. A Dark Souls game with a huge open world.
Right.
Like the last one, Dark Souls 3, it was an open world game, obviously.
Yeah.
But this looks massive. Compared to Dark Souls 3. And, for the Dark Souls games, if you wanted to get into the story, you had to look for the story in those games.
Right, absolutely.
Which was part of the fun. Yeah. Obviously in those games and charm, but this one looks like it's putting a story like right up front in your face.
Yeah.
And I like a good story that I don't have to hunt for.
Right. And see, there's a lot of series out there that do that, right? Like the Capcom Resident Evil series, they put a lot of details in their lore, and you get a lot of the story from the lore.
January 2022 there. Right. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, that's okay. Absolutely. So, they put a lot of details into their lore that, like, yeah, you can go through, you can shoot the zombies, you can do the mission, you can survive through the whole game and get the base storyline. But there's so much details underlying, right? And they do that because a lot of their hardcore fan following, and this goes into the Elder Scrolls too, a lot of those hardcore fans love digging up stuff, right?
Right.
They love to dig under the surface and find more stuff than what's just given to them at face value.
Right. So. Yeah, for sure. So definitely looking forward to Elden Ring.
Give you that nice, good, grindy feel of dying over and over and over again.
I was about to say, that rage-inducing grind.
But once you finish it, you feel like you've accomplished something.
Oh, for sure.
That is definitely one thing. And that's what that whole genre, that's why it blew up and took off again, because so many people, myself included, even though I'm not as big of a Dark Souls fan as you are, felt like games were getting just so watered down nowadays that you didn't accomplish anything if you beat them. It was like 2-3 hours. Oh, hey, I'm done with the story, this single player campaign now. Great. Now I'm just going to go back through New Game Plus, knowing everything and not really getting a lot else. Dark Souls makes you earn it.
Oh, yeah.
Every single step, it makes you earn it.
Everyone.
Which makes it feel like such an accomplishment.
Yeah, wonderful games. So, and it looks like Elden Ring is going to, keep that difficulty up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, bring, like I said, bring that story, bring that world. I'm definitely hyped for that one.
Yeah. So we'll be looking out for that.
So, all right.
All right, next up we have...
See what we got here. We're going to do a Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, this was kind of like a surprise. Like, a lot of people didn't see this one coming. There was some talk about, them working on, Eidos Montreal working on something in the Marvel Universe, but, like, nobody really knew it was Avengers, I'm sorry. Which Avengers is actually getting a DLC.
Yeah.
But nobody knew it was Guardians of the Galaxy. And the gameplay itself, from what I've seen, just looks, it looks great.
Right. So this is a single-player game.
Right.
It's not a co-op. It's not a live service online.
Right.
Like Marvel's Avengers. This is a story-driven single-player game. You're playing as Peter Quill, Star-Lord. Right. I think they said you'll play as some of the other characters, maybe, but like you're the main character here. And first thing you'll probably see here, a lot of people were, first off like, this ain't the characters I know. These don't look like
right. Absolutely.
The characters from the movies, and there's a lot to that. You've got money, you've got rights and stuff like that, but they still got the characters.
Right, absolutely. And now on that aspect, whenever, and it goes both ways, and I complain a lot about game-based movies a lot, but there's a certain aspect to this, right? So when you go from one to the other, you kind of have to come up with a little bit of a different go at it, right? With this one, they decided to take a medium of the personalities that we kind of all know and love from the movies, but also more comic book based. It's like a medium between both of them.
Right.
Because let's be honest, if they were to make a Guardians of the Galaxy game that was just a replaying of the movies, how many of us would play that?
Probably not as much that would probably play like into this original story.
Right, exactly. So like if I was playing like a character that looked like Chris Pratt and just going through all of the events that happened in the movies, I probably wouldn't play that game as much, to be honest. 100% honest. And that's what a lot of people have to think about and take into account, right? When you do another medium, you kind of have to come at it from a different angle, which is why a lot of movies aren't based solely 100% accurate to what the games are.
Right. So, but, we've got some gameplay going on here in the background. It looks good.
Absolutely.
I was thinking, oh man, another Marvel game.
Right.
You're just going to make it, oh, you got these characters, oh, you got this funny kind of little story, then like, the world ain't that interesting. This looks interesting to me, actually.
Absolutely. So, Eidos Montreal is a great development team.
Oh, yeah.
And everything they do usually has some type of RPG aspect to it. And it looks good.
Right.
So, in I keep wanting to say Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy is no exception to that. The worlds so far that they've shown us that they're building look amazing. Your choices matter on a bunch of different levels. Not just necessarily on like a big, okay, I make this choice, well, this guy's going to die because of that. But there's also littler choices that you can make throughout the game that lead into like some tough situations, or they can lead into comical situations, right?
Right.
So which refeeds back into replayability. It kind of makes you want to play it through a couple more times, see, well, what if I made this decision? What would we get into?
What if we would have threw Groot instead of Rocket? Or
right,
what if,
absolutely.
This kind of thing. Yeah, it should be fun. And, I think, like you said, we were talking, we don't have our movie characters, but the characters still look, engaging. They've still got the right look overall.
Yeah.
And the personalities are still there. Like Rocket is still Rocket.
Right. Absolutely. And that's there's a lot of people that do go wrong with personalities. Like they want to change the personality of a core character to fit their medium, and you really can't do that, right? Like that's one of the main things you have to stay close to, which is part of my gripe with a lot of book-based movies or game-based movies, is they change the core type of personality that the character we know and love is.
Exactly.
So they've got the look while setting themselves apart. They've got the look of the characters, and they've got the personality of the characters, and haven't changed that. And the game itself, just based on what I'm seeing and what the developers have talked about, it still has that very much core feeling of, these guys are like the baggage of the galaxy, right? They're this ragtag team that gets themselves into these crazy situations, but then they end up pulling it out from under us and saving the freaking galaxy, right?
Right.
And so that's still the core story, and it looks like it's going to be amazing. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun playthrough. A lot of funny moments. A lot of, like, banging 80s music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, part of the reason why I haven't been playing any sound, so we don't get hit for that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a good time. It looks like they've done a good job. They've done their homework on the characters.
Right, absolutely.
And, like you said, Eidos Montreal, just a great studio overall.
Yeah.
So, should be a great game. So, another one a lot of people have been looking forward to. Not the one they wanted, but it is a Metroid game that we did get.
Absolutely.
Metroid Dread.
And I mean, it's looking good. It's looking good. So this is, a lot of people are talking about how this is the first 2D platformer style Metroid to come out in a very long time.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying, this is the spiritual successor to Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance.
Right.
That people have been wanting. So, looks like we've got a just good overall Metroid game. Oh, this was the wrong trailer. I thought I had the gameplay trailer. See if I can switch that over. I think I got the...
This one's definitely got some gameplay in it, but it's kind of sprinkled instead of... But yeah, I mean, so, Metroid... Dread, it's got it right there in the name, right? A lot of the gameplay looks like it kind of induces that fear aspect of it as well, right? It's not just your go through, take down the baddies shooter style. It's gone back to the 2D, and it actually physically has, things making you worry about, okay, how close is this guy on my tail? What can I do to kind of get ahead, or what can I do to get past him?
Yeah, it's still, that looks like that just classic Metroid style.
Right.
We've got the puzzles, you've got the, different layers of your level, your different weapons, everything. And it just looks like they've done a good, through, like I said, spiritual successor to this style of Metroid game. And graphics wise, here we go. It looks really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. It looks like they've put the work in on the graphics. It may not be exactly what everybody expected, but they are listening to the community. It's definitely got that feel of the old Metroid games.
Everybody was waiting to hear Metroid Prime 4.
Right.
And all we got for Metroid Prime 4 was, we're still working on it. It's still coming, but here's this Metroid game instead.
Right, absolutely.
Which I think people are going to be fine with this, because, I mean, like I said, this is, that side-scroller. It's not the full 3D Prime style. And it, like I said, from what little bit we've got here, it looks like it's going to be a great addition to the Metroid family.
Looks like it's going to be a solid game. Definitely bring it back to the traditional style of Metroid, as well as expanding on the canon. It looks like a solid game. Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to that. Did this one have a date on this one? Find out here.
I believe it did. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Yep. And August. So that's coming up relatively quick as well. Be looking out for that one. Sure. And I believe for this part 2 of our video here, we've got one more game here. And I think this one, we're going out on a doozy. The big Mama Jama Zelda 35th anniversary. So, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2.
Right.
Everybody has been asking for this one. Have you played Breath of the Wild?
I have, yes. Now I haven't finished it, unfortunately. With 3 kids, you don't get a lot of time. But I've definitely dipped into Breath of the Wild, and it's an amazing game.
It's absolutely amazing. And honestly, I don't even know what they need to change. As long as they change nothing and just add and refine.
Right, absolutely. So, like, the mechanics of the game are solid. Like, if they were to try and change those mechanics, except for, maybe just add in a couple easy use things or stuff like that, I could get behind that. But, like, if they're trying to completely change the mechanics whatsoever, no, that'd be a bad idea.
Right. And, from what we've got here, it doesn't look like they're doing that.
No.
It looks like they're staying true to it. They're refining and, just adding a little bit.
Right.
Bringing some breath of life to it.
One thing, pun not intended there.
Right.
One thing that I do have to say that I like, to set it apart from the original Breath of the Wild and make it feel different but not change mechanics of it, is the verticality of it, right?
Right.
So in Breath of the Wild, of course, there was verticality, but it looks like the verticality in Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be more massive compared to what the original Breath of the Wild does.
It looks like we're going way up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which
will bring in a lot more, right? Which will bring in like a lot more, so to speak, airplay, right? Going back and forth from these huge different pieces of land that are coming up. It looks very interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I just absolutely love Zelda games anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Zelda has a great canon behind it. They're just great games.
Would you say they have a Ganon?
I would say they have a good Ganon behind them, yes.
So, yeah, Breath of the Wild 2, they're shooting. They said they're shooting for next year.
Right. We'll see.
So, hopefully it won't get pushed back. We'll only have to wait maybe next holiday, next Christmas.
But now, that's not to say, if they need to push it back, by all means do that. I would rather somebody push a game back, once or twice and get it how it needs to be than give in to some of the fan base, because the fan base doesn't have any patience.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo. Nintendo's going to do what Nintendo wants
to do. Well,
that's true.
Anyway, absolutely.
So I don't think we have to worry about that.
Right.
Thankfully. But yeah, I hope we don't get pushed back though. But like you said, if it needs to get pushed back, it needs to get pushed back, because in just a few months we're getting a re-release of Skyward Sword.
Right, absolutely. That looked great.
I never got to play that one because that one was a Wii only game. It wasn't like on Wii and GameCube or Wii U and whatnot. It was a Wii only game, and you had to use the Wiimotes for the action stuff. So they've reworked a lot of that for the Switch. So I'm looking forward to get in and play that one.
Definitely, and I'm with you on that.
Speaking of Zelda and that stuff like that, like I said, it's the 35th anniversary for Zelda. I am sad that they're not doing more like they did for Mario. Don't get me wrong, Mario is obviously the poster child for Nintendo, but Zelda is right there with it, man.
Yeah, it's definitely like there's just as many. Let's be honest, Nintendo fanboys, myself included, we love all of that stuff, right? We love all of what Nintendo has to offer, and we want to see it all. So you want to see stuff coming out for the Mario, but you also want to see a lot of stuff and good, tender, loving care being treated on the Legend of Zelda side. I'm a huge Star Fox fan. I'd love to see some Star Fox stuff coming out soon. You want to see all of it.
Right. So, I mean, we're getting Skyward Sword. That's awesome. We're getting a Game & Watch for Zelda, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, and we've already got, the Link's Awakening remake, which was amazing, in my opinion. I could have done without the lens flare and bloom, but it was still a great game. But I wanted, where's my Ocarina of Time, port? Where's my Wind Waker port? I mean, you already brought it to Wii U, so it's already been upscaled and updated. Just re-release it onto the Switch for, your Wind Waker. Give me a Wind Waker Ocarina of Time bundle.
Right.
And I know everybody's saying, well, why ain't you saying Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask? I'm sorry, I'm an Ocarina of Time guy. Majora's Mask was not my jam. I'm sorry. Great game, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, both of them were good in their own right, but there is definitely that kind of split where some people prefer Ocarina of Time versus Majora.
You know, but yeah, where's like or some like 2-pack game like that? They gave us
Right.
you know Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy all in one bundle. Where's my Zelda bundle?
I feel you. I feel you.
And I just don't think we're going to see one this year if they haven't said something by now because the year's half over.
But you know, in that same aspect though, usually when you go 1 year with a major releasing in one category, it's going to be that next year before you see a major releasing in the other category.
Yeah.
So I understand it's not right now, but
it's the 35th anniversary for Zelda. Should have went big. We ain't never gonna have 35 years of Zelda again.
True, that's true. However, there's also been a lot of stuff that has kept them behind as well.
Well, it's not my problem.
It's none of our problems, unfortunately.
So, but yeah, I think that's all we're covering in this part of the video.
All right.
So,
and guys, I mean, we've had to pick and choose the things that we wanted to look at. I've literally got 3 pages here of games that. You know, a lot of indie games, a lot of bigger games. Like we did an honorable mention last time with the Outer Worlds 2 being announced and stuff like that. There's so many games that are coming out this year.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to do one more part for the third part to this little series here of our E3 coverage. I think it'll probably be a lot of rapid fire.
Yeah, we're gonna try and cover some of this other stuff that we can't get to, but honestly, we won't be able to get to everything. We're going to try and cover some hardware that came out with the E3 announcements. And it's going to be a lot faster paced. Not, you know, if we've got release dates, we might throw them out there at the end, but it's really just going to be fast.
Yep. Yeah, we're just going to throw we're just going to go through all of them, pick out the ones we thought were really interesting, throw them all at you, and go from there.
Yep.
So, yeah, be sure to check out and keep an eye out for that third part. And thanks for watching our E3 coverage.
Guys, I'm Mike. This is Dev. Thank you for tuning in to Show and Tell Tech. Peace.
Later.